everyone, this is Phoebe Wild with BoardGameGeek at Gen Con 2016, and I'm here again with Ryan Skinner of Passport Game Studios, and he's going to tell us all about Mythe.
That's right. Mythe is a new game we've debuted here at the show. It's coming out also in the next month, about end of September is the plan here. It is a very adorable game about adventuring mice in the kingdom of Mythe. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but there you go. Who have been charged with the task of rescuing the sacred cheese from the evil red dragon, who has, of course, taken it.
Yep.
And the cheese is the symbol of hope and all things good in the kingdom. So without it, everyone's a little, despaired, and so we are charged with saving the day. So the game, as you can maybe see a little here, we have a few little mice pieces. We have the dragon. We have the sacred cheese, which is a nice metal coin in the first edition here. And the board itself is something of an experience. It's a fun little pop-up book.
That's very cool.
It's a little love to stay upright for the first time you open it, but there you go. And so you get a whole 3D experience in this tiny little board. It's very, very beautiful. So all the mice start the game in the village, in this little section here. The cheese goes into the cave where the dragon lives on top of the mountain. And that is the entire setup for the game, aside from dealing a few cards out to the players. So the gameplay is that of a push your luck system. We are going to be playing cards from other players' hands that we can't see in an effort to generate movement points to progress through the kingdom and eventually face off against the dragon to save the cheese. So you would deal the entire deck to all the players based on the player count, and you are going to then, on your turn, be able to draw any number of cards one at a time until you choose to stop to try to move as far as you can. So I might draw this card from you here, and I got 2 movement points by discovering the legendary shield. There's some beautiful art in here. It's absolutely wonderful. Hopefully you can see some shots of it on the camera here.
We can move the board out of the way so we can see the cards.
And so I have 2 movement points. So looking on the board, there are pips that are on the board on each respective space, and those pips are how far I can move based on the speed that I've generated. So right now, 1 space is 1 pip, but the second space is 2 additional. So I would need at least 3 movement to move the 2 spaces that are on the board. So I would be encouraged to push my luck a little harder and try to get more movement speed. So there's another one. I found a meal, and it pushed me a speed further, and that's great. So I'm making my way. Now I can stop there, move 2 spaces, and that would end my turn. If I choose to do that, I'm going to pick up all these cards and any other cards that are in my hand, and I'm going to distribute them back out to any other player. So I can choose the ones I just played or anything I already had and say, okay, I want you to have these, I want this player to have those, and so forth, and you move them around as long as I keep at least 1 card in my hand.
So you have a bit of knowledge about what the other players have.
Exactly, and since you can only ever play the cards that everyone else has, you have to try to keep track of that and where they're going, and you don't necessarily want to hold the higher speed cards in your hand because you want to be able to draw them. It flips around, however, towards the end of the game when you are ready to face off against the dragon. We saw the magic shield, there it was, the legendary shield. There's also a legendary fairy and a legendary sword in the deck. One of those 3 items are necessary to defeat the dragon. And in order to do that, you have to have it in your hand at the start of your turn, and you have to reveal it and then make your movements, which means that you're holding high movement cards so that other people can potentially take them from you while you are trying to keep them from doing so, of course. So it makes it work as not only a strategic decision how you distribute the cards, but also something of a catch-up mechanic to where if one person gets far ahead, he is inherently going to have better cards for movement that the other players can draw from. So it's very, very cool. Now, I mentioned it was a push your luck game.
Yes, you did. I was about to ask you.
Yes, so I mentioned it's push your luck. In addition to the movement cards, there are obstacle cards in the deck. And they look something like this. We have, for example, being struck by lightning, and there's a big skull on the card there. Anytime you decide to draw a card from a player's hand and you encounter an obstacle, your turn ends immediately, and you do not get to move. And that's where the push your luck system comes in. So regardless, you still follow the same redistribution process of picking up any cards you've played and sending them out to the other players. And that is really the gist of it. So it plays in about 15 to 20 minutes. It's a really quick, light game for ages 6 and up, but at the same time has some good strategic depth for some older audiences as well.
And it's 2 to 5 players as well.
Yes, this one is 2 to 5 players. Yeah.
Well, there we go. That is Mythe by Passport Game Studios.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.